Hello friends, welcome back. It's lovely to see you. Thank you for joining me again. If we've not met before, my name is Eleanor. It's lovely to have you here on the channel. We like to talk about everything cozy, everything pursuing the craft collector lifestyle. We're reading, we're knitting, we're just doing lots of arts and crafts and talking about general lifestyle in the English countryside. And if we have met before, it's so nice to have you back. Thank you for joining me. Last week we were talking about autumn knitting patterns in general. We were talking about lots and lots of different choices. This week I have narrowed down all of my ideas into a shorter list of what I want to knit this autumn. So if you want to chat about what I personally would like to knit this autumn and my goals for the autumn, then please stick around. Thank you. Join us. Grab yourself a nice warm cup of something. I have a cup of toasted apple green tea by Bird and Blend, and I've never tried this before, so we're going to try it together for the first time. It's nice. It's definitely just green tea with like a hint. I'm getting the popcorn. It's funny. There's like that. Do you know, on the aftertaste, I feel like I'm getting more of the apple, more of the popcorn. So grab yourself a drink and sit down and let's chat. The first thing I'll mention today is what I'm wearing, because it's finally getting towards the season where I can wear knitwear and tell you what I'm wearing again. So this is the Felix pullover by Amy Christoffers, knit in 2 strands of drops brushed alpaca. And this was one of the things I knit at the end of winter, so I haven't worn it that much yet, but it's very, very cozy, and it's like the sort of lightest, least hot piece of knitwear that I've made, so I get to wear it a little bit more often. So let's get into it. The first things to talk about are the projects that I have on the needles for a couple of my autumn plans that I've already started. So I've talked about one of them you've seen, one of them you haven't. So the first one I won't talk about too much, and that is my Dagmar Jacket by Petite Knit, and I am knitting this in Cascade 220 in the colour Burnt Sienna Heather, and this is just autumn in a cardigan. Is it not? Is it not just absolutely gorgeous? I need to make sure I'm not touching my microphone, and I'm trying to make sure my hair doesn't get on it, so I need to not just floof this on top of the microphone. And I'd be interested in your feedback on the sound, because the microphone I used in my last video was just a bit rubbish, so I got rid of it. And I'm trying a different one that is hopefully a bit better quality. Yes, this is my Dagmar jacket. I'm joined under the arm for my Dagmar cardigan now, but the progress is very, very slow now that I have joined in the body, because each round takes me a million years and doesn't make much progress at all. But I think I will end up knitting this maybe slightly cropped, so hopefully I haven't got too much left to do. It's slow progress, but my first plan is definitely, and I won't start any more big garments until this is done, because this is something I really have promised myself to commit to. So this is the real firm plan for the autumn, is commit to finishing my Dagmar jacket. Because to be fair, I only cast this on about a month ago, and I have been working on other projects, so that's not bad for a month. Each row is quite intensive and takes quite a while and grows incredibly slowly, but I'm very, very proud of what I've done so far. I think the pattern is lovely, the colour is really gorgeous, and yeah, I want to have this finished garment to wear, and I feel like I'm just going to be living in it completely when it's done. So that is a real firm plan, is that, yeah, and everything else on this list pretty much will not be being done until this is finished. I may end up needing to order more yarn. I think I probably will need to order more yarn, so I think one of these plans that I don't have yarn for, when I've decided exactly which item I'm going to do for sure, I will probably order the yarn at the same time as I order more of this, because I'm quite sure I don't have enough. I had 6 hanks and this is the 3rd one, so I'm thinking I'll probably need 1 for each of the sleeves, 1 for body, for the button band, and that doesn't really leave much else. So yes, that's the only thing that could sort of put this on pause, and hopefully I can find the same dye lot, because last I checked on Wool Warehouse they still had the same dye lot in stock. I'm just going to see if I can get some of this ambient rain sound. And the nice thing in my house is that when it's raining you can kind of hear the wind whipping through the chimney, and it just, oh, it's so cozy. So plan 2 is the Rainy Day Tea by Sari Nordland, and I actually have started this one. So I really want some knitwear that makes me feel like I'm cozy even before it's too cold, because at the moment and for the next few weeks it's probably about sort of 20 degrees, between 15 and 20 degrees, which is not really big knitwear weather. Not really super thick knitwear weather where I live, but I still want to start getting cozy, you know. So what I like to do is knit lighter knits like this one in really cozy autumnal colours. And I have my green Tombow tee I wear a lot in the spring when I'm on the Converse, when I'm starting to feel like I want to wear more spring colours but I still need a little bit of warmth. I wear that one a lot, but I wanted an autumnal version, so I am working on the Rainy Day Tea by Sari Nordland. And as you can see, this is the coziest pumpkin spice colour. This colour is just autumn. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a super cozy top down tee, but I am knitting it in the Isaiah Alpaca 1 held triple. And the thing with this is it's a lace weight, so I've had to hold 3 strands together to get gauge, but I have got gauge, and it's meaning that it's actually this really sort of light, quite airy fabric, but it's really giving autumn. So I'm really liking it. And I mean, my tension looks a little on the janky side because it's quite airy, but I'm hoping when I block this it's going to bloom quite nicely and we'll get some of the halo from the alpaca. But it's just gorgeous because it's really quite a simple t-shirt, but it's got, along the raglan, it's got these gorgeous cables, and then it's got quite a squishy, soft, double folded collar, which is just lovely. So I'm really enjoying this, and I am sort of sitting just above the kind of sleeve cap, so I just have a few more rows of increases to go before I get to the underarm and to splitting for sleeves, which I'm really looking forward to, because whilst I have my Dagmar jacket on the go, I wanted a plain stockinette project for when I'm like reading and doing things that require a bit more attention, because I was just finding that I didn't really have a stockinette project that I was really excited about, and I like to have something on the go because I was finding that I just didn't have anything to knit whilst reading, so I wasn't really reading as much. I was just listening to audiobooks, but I like to read physically as well, so I needed a project that was giving me excitement and motivation, but I could read. So that's what this is, and hopefully, again, I had to make some guesses on yardage because I'm using a yarn that is so not what the pattern recommends, but I'm using what I wanted and what was available to me in my local yarn store, rather than I was definitely prioritizing colour and vibe over what the pattern recommended, but you've just got to do that sometime. And I went up a whole millimetre on the needle size to get gauge, but it's not see-through or anything, so I think, and I have checked, I am still pretty close on the gauge. Yeah, hopefully it's all going to block out beautifully and it will just be wonderful. And I'm enjoying the process so far. So finishing this off hopefully soon so that I can have a short sleeve, very autumnal piece to wear with my nice, I'm just envisioning with this with like a black velvet skirt, and it will just be giving absolute peak autumn, even when we're not quite there yet. But I'm just, yeah, can you tell I'm really eager for it to be autumn? That I'm just sitting here enjoying the rain in my jumper that I'm just genuinely too hot to wear but will not give up. Yeah, so that's my next plan. those are my 2 whips that are already in progress for the autumn. So my plan is to finish them. So after I have completed those, then we are getting into other whips that I have already got the yarn for that are in my queue. And then I also have a couple of ideas of things I would like to get to if I get all of this done. So the next sort of top tier priority after this will probably get cast on once I finish the Dagmar, and I'm looking for another sort of texture, and that is the Mozart pullover by Caitlin Hunter. This was released towards the end of winter last year. I think it might have been December 2024. And when I saw it, I just fell in love. The combination of the cables and the lace just looks so pretty. They're absolutely beautiful. I love it so, so much. And this has just been right in the forefront of my mind since I saw this for the first time. So when the Knitting for Olive Gaza fundraiser happened and I was thinking, okay, I'll buy a sweaters quantity because it's for charity, right? That basically makes it a charitable donation and zero guilt for buying another sweaters quantity of yarn, right? So I know I don't need to sell any of you on that because that is perfect knitter logic. But this was the first thing that popped to my mind when I was thinking, okay, what pattern should I buy a sweaters quantity for? It just had to be the Mozart pullover, and the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino fit gauge absolutely perfectly. So I have bought a sweaters quantity of Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in soft cognac, and this is such a beautiful autumnal colour. It's kind of giving acorns, like that's what it's giving to me. It's just got this beautiful very gentle marling. It's got a really rustic look, but it's still fairly soft. I wouldn't say it's the softest, but it's fairly soft. And it's just, yeah, it's just like an acorn whiskey, well, cognac, I guess. But yeah, it's just autumn leaves and acorns. And then this jumper, so it will be quite chunky and cozy, but it's still going to have that lace that makes it a little bit airy. So I think this is just going to be the perfect knit. I'm really, really looking forward to casting this one on when I'm done with my Dagmar jacket. So after I'm done with, probably the next thing I'll cast on once I'm done with the rainy day tee and I want a stockinette project is going to be the Cloud Blouse by Petite Knit. And am I bitter that I've already bought the Cloud sweater and now I'm choosing to knit the Cloud Blouse, so I'm going to have to rebuy the pattern in the lighter gauge? Yes, that is slightly annoying. However, needs must, because I do absolutely love that pattern. It gives the real sort of vintage roll neck look that I just adore. There's this Rachel Green sweater that she wears that has a little roll neck and it's quite cropped, and I love it so much. So I think that's what I'm kind of inspired by in terms of the shape, the amount of ease and the length, but I'm going to knit it in the mode at Rowan Alpaca Cotton in this absolutely gorgeous brown shade that is kind of marled with blacks and greys and browns, and it just looks so cozy. And again, this is a DK weight and it's quite soft with a lot of halo to it, so hopefully you can see that, but it will hopefully come out. I just have this vision in my head of this lightweight roll neck blouse type sweater that's like sort of the hemline meets my skirts, and it has fairly sort of wide sleeves with little rolls at the end as well. So I think the Cloud Blouse is going to be absolutely perfect for this, and we'll just sort of again give that light, not too much positive ease roll neck look that I'm going for in this, again, perfect autumnal palette. I actually bought this yarn to make a slip over with, but I have changed my mind and I've since bought more of it so that I can make the Cloud Blouse. The next idea that I have yarn for will not be being cast on until I finish my herding hen socks, because as I'm not going to show them here because I suppose that's kind of a plan, but it's a tie over from the summer because they were one of my summer projects. So I have half a foot to go on one of my herding hen socks by Petite Knit, and then after that I will be free to cast on socks, but I've said to myself I'm not going to cast on another pair of socks until I have finished my herding hen socks. So once I finish my herding hen socks, I will then cast on my first pair of autumn socks. I don't have a pattern for these yet because I have a design idea in my head that I want to carry out. So they're almost like a surprise sock that you'll see what they're like when I get round to them, because this will be one of my own designs. But I will show you the yarn choices that I've got, and it is this combination. So as you can see from the selection of two, it is going to be a colourwork sock. And the main colour is this sock yarn from Pigment and Ply called A Fire of Devotion. And it is this beautiful, beautiful purple, slightly burgundy with almost a hint of sort of reddy, coppery kind of colour in there. A bit of black, purple. It's just this multi-tonal night sky, which is the clue I'm going to give you for what this design is inspired by. And then to go with it, I just have this really, really neutral sort of warm greyish colour called Beach Please from Emma's Yarn. And this is just one of their minis. And I thought it would contrast very, very well with this for the look, the pattern that I'm going for. And that's all I'm going to say. I'll let you guess what that might be. I'm sure I will end up casting on more socks in the autumn, but I tend to do that a little bit more impulsively depending on just what I'm feeling. So I'm not going to specify any other plans for socks, because I'm sure they'll just end up being whatever takes my fancy. So the last couple of things I have to talk about are things that I haven't bought yarn for, but I would like to get around to if I've already completed my other ones and get on to other plans. So the first thing to mention is that I really would like to knit a black cardigan, just an everyday basic. The piece of knitwear that I most consistently reach for is just a plain black cardigan. And I don't like the fact that the item of knitwear in my wardrobe that I reach for most often is not a piece I've knit, and it's a piece of commercial, and it's not even good quality, it's not wool, it's just acrylic, and I don't like it. However, a plain black cardigan that I just sort of grab to throw over dresses when I'm a bit chilly in the evening or popping out on a dog walk, a plain black cardigan, and I don't think I've thought about knitting that yet because it's a bit boring. However, I need to replace some of the everyday staple pieces in my wardrobe with pieces I've knit myself that are much better quality and fit me the way I want them to fit. So I've been searching for the perfect just everyday cardigan, and it doesn't have to be completely plain. I just want it to have a really classic shape that fits really nicely and just sort of is the perfect amount of drape and ease and length to just go over the top of dresses and skirts. So I think I want it to be slightly cropped and not have a huge amount of positive ease. Just the Goldilocks of all cardigans. And I do have a couple of pattern ideas that I've been looking for. Did we know there is a Brady loop cardigan? Because I did not. The Brady loop sweater has been on my radar for quite a long time because I just think I really like the simplicity of it, but with that cable that runs from sleeve to sleeve. And there's a cardigan version. So this is just a really classic, basically shaped, slightly oversized V-neck cardigan with the Brady Loops signature cable that runs all the way up the arm, across the back of the shoulder and down again. And I just think that's really cute because, again, if you're doing a really plain basic, but just to have that sort of those two cables as your only detail, I think is really, really sweet. I really, really like that. So this is a contender and it is a worsted weight. And I think I would probably want to go for a worsted weight because I just wouldn't want it to take too long to knit. So this is a contender. My other contender is another Other Loops pattern, and that's the waffle loop cardigan. Because again, I just really, really love that it has a slight bit of texture. It's not too busy. I think because I want to do black, I wouldn't do anything that's got loads and loads of cables or pattern texture. but just like an all over simple texture like this, this waffle pattern that I think is made up of knits and pearls. It looks like the perfect amount of texture to be on a really, really classic cardigan. I really, really like that. So that's an option. Another option that follows the same sort of very, very perfect classic, slightly textured look is the Lucy cardigan by the Knit Pearl Girl. And I think of all of the ones that is on this list, this is my favourite. I love the texture. I love the finishings, the button band, the neckline are just gorgeous, fit everything. This would be my everyday cardigan. The only problem is it's not released, and I don't know when it's going to be released because I couldn't find a release date. So I think if by the time I get round to knitting this cardigan up and my queue is free enough to really decide to get round to this one, if this pattern is released, I think I would do this one. It's just perfect. And then the other one that was on my radar is the Celine cardigan by Mareka Knits, and I included this on my autumn pattern roundup, so if you want a little bit more information about it, you can check out that video. It's a really, really plain stockinette just with these little tie fronts, and I think that just gives it that really cute feminine detail. I think the only thing that puts me off is it is quite shapeless, and I'm just not sure if by the time I finished it I would absolutely love it. However, I do like the fact that it is a real sort of plain staple, just with that little detail. So those little I-cord ties is really, really cute. And it's definitely a contender for my perfect cardigan. So I would say those are the ones I'm choosing between. So if you have an opinion on which I should knit, then please leave that in the comments, or if you have any other recommendations for anything you think I should be considering, then also leave that in the comments. And then the last thing that I'm going to mention is the fact that I would really, really like a sweater vest that just ticks all of the boxes that I'm looking for, and I couldn't quite find one that ticks a lot of boxes. I think I have a couple of commercial sweater vests. The issue I have with them is that I usually don't like the fit, because I don't like the fact that the ones I have are really, really boxy, and I find that's not a flattering look for me. Because I wear a lot of skirts and dresses, I like it when things hit my tree waist. I think with a lot of the ones that I have, I end up sort of having to tuck them up, which looks a bit bulky, and then I lose waist definition. So I would really like to have a slip over that allows me to sort of keep a little bit of definition in the waist. And I think the way that I would do that is with a tie side design. And I couldn't find one that exactly gives what I'm looking for. I love the Primrose slip over by Along avec Anna. That's really, really cute. I'll put a picture here. It has ties at the waist. The only thing is that it's a DK, so it'll be a bit lighter and maybe take a little bit longer to knit. And I would consider using I-cord ties at the side rather than the double knit, just so it's not quite as bulky. But I do like the idea of that one. And then my other option is the Lulu slipover by Petite Knit, but I would change quite a few things about this. It has like a turtleneck. I would double fold the collar, but that's a really, really easy thing to change. This is a DK weight, but it also comes in a chunky, and it says it's a DK weight. However, then it recommends Filcolana Peruvian, which is an Aran weight, so I'm not really sure why that is. However, I would want to use Filcolana Peruvian, I think, because I really like that wool, and there's a lot of really, really gorgeous colours. So I would do whichever version that I could use the Peruvian Highland wool with, and I think it is the one that says it's a DK weight. It's just clearly not a DK weight if they're recommending Peer Gynt and Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool. So that's a bit of a funny one, but oh well. I think another thing that I would change is that this has a really deep armhole, and because I would want to crop it, I think I would bring the armhole up a little bit so that I could end it a little bit early, because I do like the fact that it's got this quite big hem, and I think the sort of split hem, the fact that it sort of fastens at the side, Gives it quite a bit of structure that allows it to just sort of flare out over the hips rather than sitting really weirdly, which is what I find a lot of sweater vests do for me. So I think I would just bring that armhole up a couple of inches so that the whole body comes up a couple of inches. And then the last thing is that I would probably go for ties at the side, like the primrose slip over, instead of the button fastening. And again, I feel like that would just be a super simple modification to do, is to just not do buttonholes and to just put some little I-cords on the side as well. I think that could look really cute. Or double knitting, but I feel like I-cords is what my brain wants to do, because I think it would just look a little daintier. So I think I would potentially do this one and then just modify it for those little requirements that I have to make the perfect sweater vest. And I think I would use a lovely, really rich brown for this one. Just again, to be a perfectly autumnal layer that I can put over dresses and things before I really need a thick, chunky layer. And I'm going to leave it there. I really shouldn't be any more ambitious than that, otherwise I just simply will not get around to anything. So please do let me know what your autumn knitting plans are. Drop in the comments if you've got any patterns that you are really excited to knit for the autumn. If there's anything else that you think for these ideas, like the slip over and the cardigan, that you think I should be considering as an option, please let me know as well. Any yarn choices you think I should be considering. Let's chat about all of our plans in the comments below, and I will see you again very soon. Thank you for joining. Bye.